Okay, I finally got this to cooperate with me. You're going to pull off a piece that, oh, let's go with about 18 inches long, or give or take. Snip that off. And go ahead and thread your needle. And that's another thing I really like about this needle is it's got a nice big eye, and it threads very easily. Okay, now there's two different ways that you can start in the center. You can knot the end of this if you want, or you can leave this long and end up having your knot somewhere else, which is what I tend to prefer to do. Reason being is I don't want a bunch of knots down the center front of that dress. So I'm going to start, and I'm not going to pull this thread all the way up and up through, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. Now, you're going to start at the back, and you might want to go, if you're new to smocking, go to my tutorials on smocking. They're at my website, southernstitches.com, and that's got a hyphen between southern and stitches. Go to the tutorials page, and beginner smockers can pick up on those videos of how to smock. I'm going to assume that most of you already know how to smock, and you're just kind of smocking along with me. You're going to come up, and I'm going to bring this up here, and hopefully you can see this pretty good. I'm coming up in the valley, okay, of the very center of this dress. I've come up into the valley, and I'm going to leave a piece behind. I'm not going to pull this all the way up to the end, because I'm going to knot when I run out of thread going this way. Now, I'm going to, after I've come up through that valley there, I'm going to bring my needle through the pleat that is directly to the left. If you can see that. Just like that. And I'm going to pull this through. Now I'm going to go back to the right, and I'm going to start picking up my pleats. Let me poke this in here and show you. Just like that. Okay. And I'm going to continue, and I'm going to go all the way to the end doing my cable stitch, and I'm going to work all the way till I get to my last pleat. Then I'm going to tie it off. If I run out of thread on my way there, I'm going to bring it to the back, I'm going to knot it off, start with a new piece of thread, work to the end until that row is finished. Okay, then I'm going to come back, and let's say I've already finished this row, and you're going to, of course, take your needle out of the remaining piece of thread there. You're going to come back to this piece that is hanging here in the back. You're going to thread your needle, and then you're going to bring it through, invert your fabric, which means you're going to turn your work upside down, and you're going to complete that row to the other side. And we're just going to work a cable stitch in that first row. Now make sure that you are not doing your smocking on the holding row. You don't want it in the holding row. You want it in your very first row that you have set up for smocking. And so go ahead and work and do a cable stitch for that very first row. And I think what we may do in this lesson series is not work off from a pattern. We're just going to, I'm going to come up with different stitches that we can do for each row and kind of create our own plate as we go along. When I finish the series, I will graph the plate, and I'll have it available for you so that you can print it off and have it for the next time you do it, and you won't have to just refer to looking at your work to figure out what you did. Now I want to talk about these sleeves because you might be wondering about those. What we're going to leave our holding rows in it just the way that it is here, and we're not going to even pull up the pleats or anything until all of our neckline is smocked. Once the neckline is done with smocking, then we'll come back and we'll do the same thing that we did on this by pulling out so many stitches and pull this up, and then we'll smock the sleeves. And once you have the sleeves smocked and your front done, the only thing left to do then is to sew up your side seams, do your placket and your neck binding and your buttons and your buttonholes and hem it, and it's done. So that's what I like about a bishop dress is, you know, you feel like it's almost done as far as construction goes when you begin to smock. And the nice thing about that, and try to keep, while you're smocking, really try to, you know, keep this in the round as you work on it. It just, you don't want to end up with a turtleneck. That's your main goal. You don't want a turtleneck. And the tendency of turtlenecking, here's why. You would, if you left this all out straight, if you can see here, you have a larger, wider area to work on here than you do up here. Your stitches are going to be tighter up here than they're going to be down here, okay? If you pulled all this up tight and had it like a smocked insert is, where it's all the same width, top to bottom, your tendency is going to end up being is to put these stitches down here too tight, and then that's going to pull this in, and that's what makes that turtleneck. It causes your stitches to be too tight. If you keep it in the round, you're guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed, of not pulling that smocking tight, because you know what. Here's the neckline. You know how it's going to lay. And if you keep it laying like that as you get your smocking done, you're going to have a beautiful bishop once you get your smocking completed. So, and another nice thing about this is it's great as a take and go project if you're, you know, got to go and, you know, sit and wait for somebody, or you're sitting in a doctor's office or whatever. You know, you can just bring this all together and stick it in a Ziploc bag, and away you go, and pull it out, and you can work on your smocking and get some work done, you know, wherever you're at. So go ahead and let's get a cable stitch across the first row, and then in lesson 4 we will do something else. I'll decide what our next stitch is going to be, and we'll work along on that. And I will work on graphing a smocking plate for us, and so that you will have that to keep. And then we will, I may go ahead and finish the smocking on this and then move on to construction. I'll just have to decide. But I wanted to make sure that I got a lesson out today, because it has been a week since I have had been able to get at doing another lesson for you. So I hope that you enjoyed lesson 3, and I hope you enjoyed seeing my sewing room. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I love to have questions come in. I love to be able to have a blog report and answer those questions. I've had a lot of emails from people who have told me that they had the same questions that somebody else asked, so they were glad that that question was asked and put on my blog. So ask me those questions, send them to me. I'll try my best to answer them. And that's it, and I will see you in lesson 4.